frightening thought. So I have a couple of charts here. I want to explain what I believe as a biblical, a Bible-believing, literal creationist. I believe the biblical account is literally true and scientifically accurate just as it is written. So I'll explain the creation view of history, and we'll take all the questions you want. If you have a question, just go to the mic, and that would be easier for us. I have timelines here to indicate the two basic differences of opinion. The Bible teaches pretty clearly, if you add up the dates given in the book of Genesis and in Luke and several places, if you add up all the dates given, the Bible says the earth was created about 6,000 years ago. Not millions and billions. It was instantly created in 6 days. That's what I believe, a mature, fully functioning creation done in 6 days. And then the Bible says 4,400 years ago there was a flood when this world was destroyed. Noah built the ark and saved all the animals on board. The time before the flood was very different. People used to live to be 900 years of age. And most ancient cultures, like the Greek mythology and stuff, many of those ancient cultures talk about a time when people used to live to be nearly 1,000, called the Golden Age. I believe they're probably a messed up version of the literal biblical account of the time when people lived to be 900 plus years of age, before the flood. And there's a lot of reasons for that, which I cover in my seminars when I've got 10 hours on why they used to live to be 900. After this flood came, and by the way, there have now been uncovered in anthropology, I guess is the best word for it, 250 different flood legends, different cultures that talk about a worldwide flood with a family saved in a boat. And they're all, variations of, I think, the same theme of Noah's flood. I believe, as a Bible-believing Christian and a creationist, that the dinosaurs fit right into history. They were created in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. They were just big lizards. And Noah took dinosaurs onto the ark. Probably babies. He'd be smart enough to figure that out. You don't have to bring the biggest ones you could find, bring 2 small ones. Just be sure to get a pink one and a blue one. And then after the flood, I think 2 things happened to the dinosaurs. I think the climate killed off most of them because the climate was different. They couldn't live to be 900 anymore, and there's a lot of reasons for that. So they couldn't grow as big or get as old. The second thing happened to the dinosaurs was man's hunting. Back in those days, they called them dragons. They didn't have the word dinosaur till 1841. So they called them dragons, and they killed off most of the dragons back shortly after the flood, within the first 1,000 years or so. And I believe there could possibly be a few stragglers still alive today, which is why there have been 11,000 people that claim they have seen the Loch Ness Monster, and they say it's a plesiosaurus, a dinosaur still alive. There have been 20 trips into the central part of Africa, into the Congo swamp, where they say there are still small 20-foot apatosauruses, long neck, long-tailed dinosaurs still alive right now. Now, I don't know, I've never seen one, okay, but I know there are about 20,000 reported sightings of dinosaur-like creatures in this century from about 200 different places in the world. I think if there are dinosaurs alive today, they're very rare and much smaller than they used to be, but I think the idea of them living millions of years ago is simply not true. If evolution is true, you could read Charles Darwin's book, page 170, or page 217. He said, hey, the death and struggle for life is a wonderful thing. That's how we get ahead. Okay? Now, the creation view says there was a flood about 4,400 years ago. Now, this would make a few predictions. Based on the idea that there was a universal flood, I think I could predict that the earth will have hundreds of layers of strata. Floods automatically do that. Moving water sorts particles in all sorts of layers. You can get a jar of dirt, add some water to it, and shake it up and set it down, and in 20 seconds you'll have layers forming in your jar. Moving water automatically sorts particles. It's called hydrologic sorting. You engineers ought to know about that. I predict, based on the Bible teaching of the flood, that there will be billions of fossils, including coal and oil, found in those layers of sedimentary rock that we find all over the earth. I predict that there will be huge canyons and deltas showing evidence of rapid, massive erosion. I predict there will be legends of this worldwide flood found in cultures all over the world. That's a prediction based on the biblical view. Biblical view of creation is certainly scientific. It makes predictions. Okay? I predict there will be petrified trees in the vertical position extending through all of these layers. Thousands and thousands of these trees have been found around the world, petrified, standing up, connecting layers that some people want you to believe are different ages. Now, I don't know how long a dead tree stands up around here before it falls down, but up in Pensacola, you get maybe 5 or 10 years maximum before the tree falls over. And yet they're telling us these layers are different ages. We have dozens of pictures of these polystrate fossils on our website, drdino.com. Now, if somebody wants you to believe the layers are different ages by millions of years, well, they're welcome to teach you whatever they want, but this is simply not in accordance with the evidence. I believe the Bible would predict we would find things like this. Polystrate fossils. A worldwide flood would do that. Science means knowledge, okay? A more expanded definition of science means knowledge gained by observation and study and testing. My contention is there is absolutely nothing scientific about the evolution theory if we define what we mean by evolution carefully, which I want to do in my last few minutes here. I like science. I taught high school science for 15 years. I love the study of science. I am not against science, but I'm against using lies to support a theory